Spider-Man No Way Home was a great movie, and was the first time I really respected an MCU Spider-Man movie. This wasn't because of the nostalgia bait, it was because of two good writing techniques or decisions that were made for the screenplay. The first thing that made this movie's quality really stand out was the lack of any subplots. No Way Home had only one plot, which allowed for the story to be simple and focused. For reference, Homecoming had a Peter plot, a Spider-Man plot, and a Vulture plot. Far From Home had a Peter, Spider-Man, and Mysterio plot. Even the Raimi trilogy have a Peter, Spider-Man, and at least one villain plot. But this movie only had a Spider-Man plot. Nearly everything was focused on him and shot from his perspective. We don't really see what the villains are doing when they aren't around Peter. This simplicity allows for an easier time when writing. Planning out one plot is much easier than juggling several, and it shows. Almost every scene in the movie felt purposeful, and the pacing felt perfect. The first two films in the Raimi trilogy were also simple and allowed for amazing character development, but this was surprisingly even simpler, which also allowed for the same thing. For an example of what happens when there are too many plots, look at Justice League Snyder Cut. I love the second half of the movie, but the first half took too long to get good. Before the battle against Steppenwolf, there are so many plots. There's Batman trying to make the Justice League, there's a Wonder Woman plot towards the beginning, there's Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, Lois Lane, and Steppenwolf. That's 7 different plots going on at the same time, and to make matters worse, the scenes for the plots are all scrambled, making the pacing feel even slower. But once the battle in the tunnel begins, most of the plots converge into one, and the story becomes extremely focused and well-paced. The plots are the Justice League and maybe Steppenwolf. And to be clear, having less plots isn't better than having more. The Dark Knight is one of the greatest films of all time, and that movie has 3 plots: Batman, Harvey, and Joker. And all of them are pretty complex too. The difference is that the writers knew how to handle multiple plots very well. The second thing that improved this movie's quality is the plot structure. This movie follows the basic plot and act structure in writing pretty tightly. It starts with the opening, which sets up the new status quo. Everyone knows Peter is Spider-Man, and this negatively affects his and his friends' lives. Then the inciting incident happens, when Peter tries to make everyone forget, but the spell is messed up. The first act break is basically the first half of the quest. Here, there are 2 goals: capture the villains, then cure them. The villains are captured quickly, and after writing Doctor Strange out of the movie, Peter works on the cures. The cure for Doc Ock works, and it feels like the movie is coming to an end. This is a sign of a good transition from the first act break to the midpoint. The story should feel like it's arriving at its conclusion until something happens to halt or ruin the progress. That something is the Green Goblin. He convinces all of the villains that they don't need to be cured, beats up Peter, and kills Aunt May in an amazing midpoint. This brings us to the second act break, which is the second half of the quest. There are 4 goals here: find Peter, make cures, cure the villains, and save the multiverse. Goal 1 is wrapped up pretty quickly when Peter 1 and 2 are brought together and they all find 3. Goal 2 goes by fast as well. Goal 3 is the main attraction of the second act break and has the final battle. Then Goal 4 comes when a new problem arrives. People from different universes are coming, so Peter makes his decision. In the climax, Peter decides to have everyone forget who he is to protect the multiverse. A good climax is a scene that embodies the themes of the story, and that's exactly what this movie does. While there were 4 goals in the second act break, only the third was long while the others were fairly short. So by having one plot, the different sections of the movie were able to be extremely focused on the main goal and satisfyingly paced. There were almost no interruptions in the middle of each goal of the quest. No side plots to delay the movement of the other plots. It felt effortlessly straightforward, like it was the only logical way to write the movie. This is why I think No Way Home's writing was good.